welcome to my studio. It is, let's see, today is Wednesday, October 21st, I believe. Welcome, whoever is joining live. And if you're joining later, hi, and I love you. Thank you for tuning in. So, here's a glimpse of my studio for today, of my life for today. Things have been a bit busy here. You may have noticed, and 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how I was writing a grant proposal for my project, Document Your Day, which is a public art project. And it is a project that uses documentation of your life, of your daily, mundane or not mundane, magnificent activities as a way to process ambiguous loss. And Dr. Pauline Boss is who I learned the term ambiguous loss from, and it is pretty much a grief without certain types of closure. And I know that I am experiencing that right now. And I know a lot of you are. I have the privilege of working with a unique small group of women every week in my membership, which will be ending in December, and we will re-begin a new group in March of next year. So I get the glimpse into other people's lives too, that this is up. This is a huge feeling, the grief of like, yes, maybe we're even grieving people who have gone from the earth, right? Who have died. But it's a lot of us are experiencing the grief of just like, what is happening? What happened to my life? And what's next? And confusion and job loss and home loss and lifestyle and livelihood loss is huge. And it's really, it's up. So this project that I wrote for is going to happen no matter what, whether I get the proposal or not. Or the grant money or not. I really hope it happens so that I can deliver in a bigger way to my community what this project is, what Document Your Day is. But following along on Instagram and also through my newsletter, if you're not a subscriber, please message me somewhere on this and I'll add you to that. So today we're going to have a practice that, it has to do with listening to yourself. So what do I mean by listening to yourself? Let me sip a little coffee. Look, I'm matching. What comes up to you when you think of listening to yourself? What I mean by listening to yourself is this. We live in a very, very noisy world. You may know this. This may be noise to you right now, actually. And we are not evolved to take in so much information. So what happens when we take in so much information, which is information from the internet, news, constant, on, we experience stress in our bodies and exhaustion and confusion and also making decisions that may not be based on what we really want. This is also a product of capitalism. Making decisions for our life based on a system that maybe we do not agree with, but we are part of because we're here. So listening to yourself is, it can be so many things, but the biggest lesson that I've received lately in the past 7 months, 37 years maybe, is that you do not need to ask other people's opinions or find out the answers through Google or have someone else tell you what the right thing is until you've checked in with yourself. So those decisions, those elements can be part of your decision, because it's always important to take in all that you are, all the people around you, all of your experiences, but it's not everything. And until you can step in to listening to yourself, well, you will make decisions that feel wishy-washy. And what I mean by that is that they don't feel completely centered. And here's the thing, y'all. I am not trying to preach what to do, how to live. This is something I'm experiencing 100% live and direct right now as I try to make some really big decisions in my life and wonder how much of it I'm considering, even because of so much information out there and so much else outside of myself versus checking in with myself, right? So let us begin with an art practice that will hopefully bring you into trusting the mystery a little bit more, trusting your inner voice a little bit more. I'm gonna do this, and whoever signs on later, gosh, is this even gonna work? Yeah, I bet you'll see it. Okay, you'll see fine. Just so you can see the full range here of my art supplies and desk. So I want to talk about listening to yourself and how the creative practice can really help with that. And first off, I'm going to take off a sheet of paper from my pad. So it's been shown through the ages, throughout time, and through research that creativity and making stuff or using your hands and doing something is a direct relief and responder to stress. You may know this. You may experience this on your own. And so when you have decisions that you feel like you can't find the answer to, and that therefore is causing some stress in your life, my greatest recommendation is stillness, is breath, is pausing, is acknowledging. And then from there, try to find something to work with your hands. My husband is a big, he has to always almost have something in his hands, especially when hard conversations are going on. So I'm just putting some water down on heavy stock paper here. I'm gonna work with some watercolor to create similar vibes to the piece above. And the thing about making art without a plan, which is what I'm doing. Well, kind of, I have a plan, but to make art from just listening to yourself is you start to strengthen the muscle of your inner being, of your brain, that makes decisions that maybe you can't change. Maybe a decision that you would feel like is possibly a mistake even. Hindsight. But how can you work with that? How can you know that maybe you made a decision that now you wouldn't have made? And trust that that decision was made at that time with the best data and information you had possible to make that decision. So mixing two contrasting colors, some magenta and a deeper blue, or this is called turquoise blue. shows on the paper too contrast, right? And I'm going to pull some of the watercolor out with a wet brush. You see that movement? Some of that movement at least. And the art practice here of playing around with water is getting you back into, hopefully, a sense of remembering that you have everything you need inside of you, and you were born with that. Just like you were created inside of a big bunch of watery fluid, like the watercolors we're playing with here. How can you remember that you were born with all of your knowledge, all the knowledge, and not only your knowledge, but the knowledge of your ancestors and your lineage coming in to support you. So I'm just using a crayon there, pastel crayon, to create a different texture. You'll hear Jason Moore downstairs teaching a lesson. I'm not kidding when I write about how we're a bunch of artists in this family. And y'all, look, what am I doing? I'm using my fingers. Why am I doing this? Because it felt right at that moment. It's messy. So when I have done my art teaching online, I often instruct my students to touch their painting. And what happens is there's often a squeal, right? Because we're not taught to get messy anymore as adults. So here's my studio diary for today. How in the world can we listen to ourselves a little bit deeper and trust that whatever we hear is ours, is our own? And also removing a lot of what I consider noise. Hi, Emma. I think Emma's here. Because that's one of the biggest things that can clog our selves from completely trusting our path, is when there's too many other opinions, too much other information, too many other news headlines in there. So even taking the time to completely submerge into something like a 5-minute watercolor play, or a letter that you're writing to somebody or to yourself, or mixing dough so you have delicious bread, or one of my favorites is gardening right now, particularly like harvesting some herbs that I've been growing, getting your hands in the dirt. That will create a new line in your mind, in your brain. This is neurobiology stuff that I don't have complete authority on, but I know it's true that if you keep working the muscles or the activity in your brain to change how you're thinking and perceiving and experiencing the world, it will start to be your dominant thought process over time. This is proven as well. I might need to have this when I put this on my website with some links, so some research in case anybody wants to see information about that. But thank you for joining today. I love you and appreciate you, and I will see you next week. And let me know if you have any questions or thoughts. I'm here for you. Bye.